out a tape measure, right?
Yeah.
And you cut a piece of wood to exactly 10 inches.
Right.
And well, that is a fact. It really doesn't matter how you or anyone else feels about that wood. 10 inches is 10 inches.
It's just objectively true.
Exactly. But when you try to measure human behavior, when you try to figure out what is actually right or wrong, that universal standard just seems to totally vanish.
Oh, it gets incredibly messy.
It really does. So, welcome to this deep dive. Today, we're pulling from chapter 2 of Lewis Vaughn's book, Doing Ethics, to, unpack the fundamental ways we try to define morality.
Yeah, and the starting line for this whole search is a concept called objectivism.
Okay.
Which is just the idea that moral truths do exist out there, completely independent of what you, me, or, well, any society thinks of them.
Right, but I think people hear objective morality and they immediately picture these rigid, unbreakable rules. Like, I don't know, never lie, even if it saves a life.
Right.
But objectivism isn't absolutism, right? Like, you can have a universal rule that still allows for context or exceptions. It just means the ultimate truth of the action isn't, based on our opinion.
Exactly. But a lot of people find that idea really uncomfortable. They want to avoid judging others.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. But it makes it incredibly tempting to swing to the total opposite extreme, which is subjective relativism.
Ah, okay.
This theory basically argues that an action is morally right simply because you, as an individual, approve of it.
I mean, I guess that sounds freeing at first, but it completely breaks down in practice.
Oh, completely.
If morality is just my personal approval, it's like being the author of a dictionary where you're the only one who speaks the language.
That was a great way to put it.
Right, because you can never misspell a word, but you also literally can't communicate with anyone else.
That is exactly what happens. If your approval automatically makes an action right, then you are morally infallible.
Wow, so I can just never make a wrong choice.
Exactly, you can't. And on top of that, if you and I disagree on a moral issue, under this theory, we aren't actually debating ethics at all.
Wait, what are we doing then?
I'm just describing my internal feelings, and you're describing yours. So true moral disagreement becomes literally impossible.
Wow, okay. So if setting the standard at the individual level isolates us that much and just shuts down debate, it makes sense that humans would, naturally look to their community to set the rules instead.
Yeah, which lands us on cultural relativism.
Right.
That's the idea that right and wrong are dictated by whatever a culture approves of. And it is very popular because it feels like a path to cultural humility.
Sure.
In our sources, the philosopher Walter T. Stace notes that because moral judgments differ wildly across cultures, a lot of people just conclude there are no objective moral principles at all.
But the logic there is severely flawed, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Just because cultures disagree on morality doesn't mean an objective truth doesn't exist. I mean, going back to Stace, if you and I disagree on the objective size of a house, it doesn't mean the house has no size.
Right.
It just means one of us is mistaken. And usually cultures don't even disagree on the core moral principles, right? They're just working with divergent non-moral facts or beliefs.
Exactly. And when you apply cultural relativism strictly, the implications are actually quite dark.
Really? How so?
Well, if the culture dictates truth, the culture is morally infallible.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Yeah. That means any social reformer who fights against the status quo of their society is by definition morally wrong.
Wait, that implies moral progress is literally impossible. Like, we wouldn't be getting better as a society, just, different.
Exactly. You can't improve if the current rule is always perfectly right.
But here is the real trap, I think. Most people adopt cultural relativism because they think it promotes tolerance.
Right, that's the big selling point.
But if tolerance is a universally good thing that everyone should practice, wait, isn't that an objective moral value? Doesn't the whole theory just defeat itself?
It completely collapses on itself. Because under cultural relativism, if a society happens to approve of extreme intolerance, well then intolerance is suddenly morally right for them.
Wow.
There is no universal shield of tolerance.
So if we can't rely on the individual and the culture is inconsistent, where does that even leave us? It feels like the only thing left is raw feeling.
And that brings us to emotivism.
Okay, lay it on me.
This theory doesn't even bother calling moral judgments true or false.
Not even false.
Nope. Under emotivism, when you say stealing is wrong, you aren't stating a fact. You are merely expressing a feeling.
So it's the equivalent of booing at a sports game.
Exactly. It's just booing. So nothing is inherently good or bad.
So think about the last time you, listening to this, argued with a friend over a moral issue. You probably thought you were presenting facts, right?
But emotivism argues you were just using non-moral facts to manipulate their attitudes to match yours.
You're just trying to sway their emotions.
Yeah, emotivism strips away the idea of moral reasoning entirely. If there is no truth, there is really only influence.
So we've gone from the search for an objective standard, right, to the isolation of individual approval.
Through the paradox of cultural dictates.
All the way down to pure emotional manipulation. It's wild.
It really highlights how deeply our chosen ethical framework shapes the way we interact with reality.
It really does. Well, here is a final thought for you to chew on.
Go for it.
If cultural relativism makes social reformers automatically wrong, and emotivism means moral claims are just feelings, how can a highly globalized world ever agree on universal human rights without simply imposing the loudest group's emotions?
That's a tough one.
Think about it. Until next time.